Hello, this is Noreen from Joya Cards and welcome to my video. Today I am switching back from my Stamparatus to the Misti. So Stampin' Up! Had the Stamparatus, which was a great idea. I mean, it had two of these boards so you can load up stamps, and this was great. But it did have a major flaw, and one was obviously the legality of it because it's very similar to this. But the fact of the matter is when you put something on here to stamp and it's in the corner so you don't have to move it around, it gets pushed back by, the hinge here. So now that this is discontinued by Stampin' Up! Because of the legality of it, I'm going back to the Misti. So I got this one. It comes in a new color. And I got a new mat, and I got one of these things just because, hey, it's the thing to do. So I'm going to open this up. So first of all, you get this little bag that says, "This is not a toy." I didn't know that. So this thing is really kind of cool. I had one years ago, and then they came out with the Stamparatus, and since I'm a Stampin' Up! Person, I went ahead with this. But I found that this one wasn't as user-friendly as the Misti, unfortunately. But what's great about it is that you can put things in corners and they're not going to move. Plus, this is a really nice one. If you notice, my lid stays open. Also has a little piece here that hangs over so you can open it nice. The magnets are here instead of on the back, so you don't have to worry about those. And of course, I can use any of the tools with the Misti that they had before. These are great. I happen to have these from my last Misti, so let me show you how I was stamping something. So I started with my Stamparatus, and if you notice, I've got tape here to show the corners because you really need to get in a corner and really keeps that corner. Where the Misti, you've already got a quarter and the hinge isn't going to be in the way, so that's great. So I'm using In the Grove and Under the Moon to make a background, and as you can see, I totally missed the moon on the mountains here. It's not very dark, so I'm going to try it now on my Misti. So this is a 5 1/4 by 4. I always make them a little smaller because I like to border everything that I stamp. So I've got that down. Now it only comes with one magnet here, so I'm sure it's going to be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my mountain first. Now I do want to see how much of that sun needs to be on that paper here and with covering it up by the mountain. So I think, and it's kind of odd because it's a circle, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. So we're going to put it right, maybe a little higher, right here. And let's stamp her up. I also just noticed something really important. With my Stamparatus, I would have to put my case under here because there's a big, huge gap here. So you had to put your thing down, your case underneath, and stamp on it so it'll be level. When I open this up, it's flat. So no longer need to put my stamp case underneath. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this real good. I did get that mouse pad insert and then took out that paper and the padding and just put that in. I think that's a nicer to use. I never really used the paper. So anyway, so let's go ahead and stamp this the first time. Okay. Oh, and I bought this silly little tool because everybody was talking about it. It's like, okay, I'll buy that. And that looks pretty darn nice. That's only on one stamp compared to the Stamparatus here. So let's go ahead and stamp it again and see how much nicer it will be. And there we go, just like that. So it worked pretty good. Now I did move this a bit. Since it did move, I'm going to stamp it again and see what happens. Yeah, it's great. So even if it moved, I know if I make sure this is in the corner, everything is good to go. Now let's go ahead and do the sun part, and the sun is from Under the Moon here, so we're going to do that one. Now the good thing about the Stamparatus is that you had two trays because you could hinge it on this side and then this side, but that's okay. I don't need to necessarily do that, so I'm going to just put this one here and then line this one up. Now before I stamp that sun, I am going to get some copy paper. Really important that you use copy paper, and go ahead and stamp that mountain again. And take the die, take a piece of tape, line this up, and cut it out. And you're going to use this as a mask. Now with your mask, you're going to take this teal colored Tombow tape and tape this down. Now this tape is usually like the worst stuff you can use, but for masking, it's perfect because it doesn't really hold on or anything like that. So I'm going to put my mask over my mountain right now. The die will give a little bit of lip. So you want to make sure that the lip is not going over the edge of the mountain there. Just kind of bring it down a little bit. Okay, now you're ready to go ahead and stamp that sun. I got my sun here, and I'm going to put it right where I want it over these mountains here. And I can give it a little bit. Got to just make sure that I'm not having any white spots where the mountain comes down. And then go ahead and close this up. Now I'm lifting this up, but that's okay because this is the thing about the Misti. You can just put your paper back, where with the Stamparatus, if this thing moved, you're done. You have to start over. So let's go ahead and ink this up. And the stamp set we're using is that Under the Moon. Is on page 88 of the catalog. If you need one of the catalogs, put your information in the comments and I will get you one out. Now, oh, and by the way, if you could like and subscribe while you're at it, that'd be awesome. It helps me out with my my rating here. So now this is not a solid stamp. This is one of those stamps that looks like a watercolor almost. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use Pumpkin Pie. And I thought, no, that's a little dark. So I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. Now, usually I use one of those little Stampin' Spots, but because this isn't a solid stamp, what you're going to see is the square of the little Stampin' Spot, and I don't want that. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it in Flirty Flamingo and see what happens. So I like that color. That's a really good color. I think I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off and add another little color. So I'm just using my chamois to wipe that off, and I'm going to try Peach Pie and see what that looks like as well. Let's see, maybe it's a mistake. I don't know. It's kind of cool. This stamp does do a little blotching, so just be careful. I'm going to wipe this off again, and for the heck of it, I'm going to use Daffodil and see what happens. So I'm really experimenting hard here, so bear with me. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's see how well I do. It's all right. It's still usable. So, and I've moved this around a little bit and everything's perfect. So I'm pretty happy with it. So let's see how it is without the mask. We pull that off and that looks pretty cool. So that's really the breakdown between the two. I took you through making kind of a card here. I did end up making this card, and I'm actually going to do it differently in my next video. So if you want to see how I change this card, go ahead and like and subscribe, and my next video will just pop up on your feed. But I really do like the Misti more than my Stamparatus. It just makes a lot more sense. So that will do it for me. You all have a good day. Thanks. Bye.